welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 Cousins folks, people, my peeps. We've got some updated ratings, and there's an added twist that makes it really, really interesting. Now, as many of you already know, we kept hearing how the WNBA was just fine and the WNBA had been growing explosively without Caitlin Clark. And yeah, she's added to it. If you remember Becky Hammon early in the season, while Asia Wilson sat there under a blanket, not looking at anyone in a supposed press conference or interview, I guess, like a little 3-year old who wants to go home. And Becky just kept saying how amazing the league was and how great it was doing. And yeah, Caitlin Clark got there just at the right time to be part of that tipping point that put everything over the edge. Look, we know that's nonsense. We know Caitlin Clark isn't just a generational player in terms of what she's doing on the court. She is a generational player in terms of the fandom that she attracts, in terms of the eyeballs that she attracts. And a lot of people who are giving her credit would talk about comparing her to Michael Jordan and the impact that he had on the NBA and the saving of the NBA. And I thought about it, and that is probably the closest comparison, but I don't think that's enough. Michael Jordan, the NBA had been around a long, long time. Yeah, it was struggling at a time when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came into the league. And they, for a lack of a better phrase, saved the league. And then Michael Jordan came, what, 4 years later? And that's when it exploded. But Michael Jordan had Larry Bird and Magic Johnson not long before him. Caitlin Clark does not have that. The WNBA has never made a penny. They haven't seen a million viewer game on TV since 2008. And if I remember correctly, there was one that year. So let's check this out, and we're going to get into this a little bit. This is pretty interesting. Clark attracts another seven-figure audience. Check out this part. Despite NFL, my friends, despite the opening weekend of the NFL. That's right. Friday's Lynx Fever WNBA regular season game. Nafisa Collier, Caitlin Clark, the top two MVP candidates. Or I should reverse that. Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, the top two MVP candidates. Averaged 1.26 million viewers on ION, marking the 22nd WNBA telecast this season to hit the million viewer threshold. 23 if you include the WNBA draft. Now keep something in mind. 22 this year. They hadn't seen one since 2008, 16 years ago, and I believe there was only one that season. And all but three have telecasts that feature Caitlin Clark. And two of them were on days with Caitlin Clark, where Caitlin Clark was, I think on one of them, Caitlin Clark was the lead-in game, and on the other, it was the opposite. There was a game on a Sunday, and then I believe there was about an hour to an hour and a half break, and then there was a Caitlin Clark game. Absolutely insane. Let's dig a little deeper. The telecast actually peaked at 1.52 million and it hit seven figures, and really, to be fair, well over seven figures at 1.26, despite the fact that about 45 minutes after the Fever game started, the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles played an NFL international game played down in Brazil on Peacock, and that did average north of 14 million. Like I said, hey, it's the NFL. But the fact that in a league that hasn't seen a million viewer game since 2008, for this game to still draw 1.26 million fans, viewers, however you want to call it, that is absolutely crazy. Again, 16 years without a million viewer game, and I know I keep saying it, but here's another way of putting it. 1/5 of all WNBA games to hit the million viewer mark have come this season. You know, Cindy Brunson, the crazy play-by-play lady at the Phoenix Mercury, and I did a video on that. Woo! I haven't decided whether I'm going to release it or not. But she made a comment with this just over-the-top, bitter, jealous, shrieky voice where she, talked about people viewing Caitlin Clark coming down from the mountain with his tablets, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe that's not so far off from the mark, Cindy Brunson, in terms of what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. Ion has now had 6 games average more than a million viewers, and of course, they all have involved Clark and the Indiana Fever. The game Friday was the third most watched, behind a Fever Sky game the previous week and Mercury Fever in July. Now, let's get to something really, really interesting. Later in the night, the Sparks and the Sky played. The Sparks and the Sky played. I'm going to say that one more time for the cheap seats. The Sparks and the Sky played. And that was a game that included Angel Reese. And that was after the Fever game. So they had the lead-in of Fever Lynx leading into Sparks Sky. And the Sparks Sky game averaged 514,000 viewers. Not even half of what the game before with the Fever and Caitlin Clark did. Not even half. That is a serious, serious concern for the WNBA. Because don't forget, folks, they've signed this new huge media rights deal. But this league has yet to prove that it can draw big numbers without Caitlin Clark. That is an absolutely huge drop-off to go from a game of 1.26 million to 514,000. Because don't forget, that second game, folks, included this lady.
It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
It's because of me, too. It's because of me, too. I'm Me Too Barbie, and it's because of me, too. That's why y'all are watching, and I know I'm going to go down in history. I'm not even going to get into all the other ridiculous stuff she said leading up to that statement that I had almost completely forgotten about. That's just over the top, just pure narcissism. But now, this is a game she was in right after the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark drew 1.26 million. Me Too drew 514,000. That is not a good sign for the WNBA. They have yet to show me that they can achieve these numbers without Caitlin Clark. And that is a real problem for this league. Real problem. But man, the men showed out for Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. They chose the Indiana Fever. Now, there's still some football left after the Fever game. I get it, but that's still a lot of game that was missed on the opening weekend of the NFL. And people, they chose the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the viewership, on the ratings, what this means for the WNBA. I hope the media companies have some renegotiation leverage because I'm not sure they're going to get what they are paying for when they think about these ratings, unless all they're going to broadcast are Indiana Fever games. But I think they have to broadcast more than 40 games. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Keep having a fantastic day. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.